Love this guy. Can't wait to hang with him on the third night of the first night, pardon me, of the NFL draft. Joining me here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is none other than Pro Football Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. How you doing, Kurt?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I am doing great. All right, let's just jump right into it. I assume you have grinded tape on some top quarterback prospects. I've seen your QB Confidential videos that you've been tweeting out there from your Twitter account. So which one jumps out at you? Which one do you believe is the best prospect? I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about you think has the best shot at a long and successful career in the NFL, Kurt Warner.
Yeah, you know, there's so many different ways to look at it, Rich, with each of these guys. And one of the things I try to do when I break down the tape is look at the positives and then look at, you know, what you might say the negatives or the things that they need to work on. And, you know, I think we've all heard it with all of these guys is, you know, this class, I don't know if it's a stellar class with what they've done or coming in and you say, oh, man, surefire guys here and there. I think all of them have pluses and, you know, all have things that they're going to have to work on at the next level. And so, you know, a lot of it really does depend on how you look at it. You know me, I'm always looking at it from the standpoint of playing the position and understanding what you're seeing and being accurate with the football and making those kind of plays. A lot of people will look at the athleticism part of it because we see so many guys in the league that, you know, are playing the position more athletically now than ever before. And so I look at it and I say Kenny Pickett, to me, based on what he did last year, seems to be the most complete you know, quarterback at this particular time. And so, you know, if I'm staking my claim on one of these guys, I'd probably stake it right there. Solid. He's a guy that does a lot of good things with his feet, buys time, makes plays, accurate, had a great year, as we all know, at Pitt. Malik Willis, I know, intrigues a lot of people, and you can watch the film, and there's some things that jump off the tape at you that would excite you. But I think there's also some things that he's got to work on to become a complete quarterback. So, you know, depending on what you're looking at from that position, I'm going to lean towards Kenny Pickett just because of how I like to see the position. You know, but there's a lot of upside for Malik Willis.
Okay, so Pickett, you're talking the processing where he sees and he understands and he knows, and you see that on tape, and then you also see the results. Is that the difference maker?
The feel inside the pocket of what you're seeing, being able to go through your progressions, understanding how to make different kinds of throws. You know, that's one thing. We get so enamored by the physical aspects. You know, we see these pro days and these guys that make these 60-yard throws, fall into their left, and everybody's like, ooh, wow, awesome. And, you know, when I watch pro days or when I watch the combine, I watch to see if quarterbacks understand how to make the different kinds of throws, which throws need to have touch on them, which throws need to be driven a little bit more. You know, do you have the ability to make a certain throw different ways? And so that to me is about, you know, quarterback intelligence and, you know, understanding, what you need to do, because if I'm making this throw, I'm only throwing it if this happens. So I make this kind of throw. The footwork ties into it, all that stuff. So I just, when I broke down the tape, I just thought the most complete player when you put all of those things together was Kenny Pickett.
All right, so now let's play the What Would You Do Kurt Warner game right here. And I know that might make you a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it anyway because we're on live radio and television, and I'm putting you on the spot. You're the Panthers, 6th overall. You don't have another selection until the 4th round. You've got Sam Darnold in the fold. You're also a coach who is got an owner who might have an itchy finger. Certainly after you are now in year 3, year 4 of your tenure. Do you pull the trigger on Kenny Pickett, 6th overall, if you're the Carolina Panthers? Does it work? Is it a fit?
I do. Well, just because I believe, Sam Darnold, and again, you can probably compare who Sam Darnold was coming out or even some of the things that he's shown us in the NFL, and you may be able to make an argument, just apples to apples looking at tape. Oh, Sam Darnold's just as good as Kenny Pickett or maybe a little bit better at some of the things that he's done. But it hasn't worked. And that, to me, is the key, is that you can look at a lot of things, but the bottom line is you had him there and it didn't work. And, he never got over the hump like you thought. And we talk about it every week on our show, Rich, is that this is a quarterback-driven league. You've got to have that guy. And it's not always just oh, when I watch tape, the arm's stronger or the accuracy's there. You're trying to find a great leader. You're trying to find a guy that people can rally around, believe in, and when you step on the field every Sunday, they believe you have a chance to win. And if you don't have one of those guys, you better get one of those guys. Or nothing else really matters to me, just because of the way the game is played. And so it just hasn't worked for them with Sam Darnold. That I do believe, whether it's Kenny Pickett or one of these other guys that they really like, I do believe if you're in a position to go get one, you have to go get one. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same boat at the end of the year as everybody else. Hey, we maybe had a solid year, but we're not competing for anything because we don't have that guy. And, with the way money is thrown around in a lot of different positions, to be able to draft a guy, you're not tied to them forever. And so I do believe those teams that need a quarterback, if you're in position to get one, you go and get one. If you feel strongly enough about what they're capable of doing in their first round selection, you go get them at 6 and you try to build around them. And if it doesn't work after a couple of years, you got to go find the guy. And that's just the nature of this beast. We look every year and we say, okay, these 8 teams have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Why? Because they've got a quarterback. That's how I always look at that position.
Sure. And so let me just go a step further. Then you said if you're in a position to go get one, you should. What about purposefully placing yourself in that position when you're currently not in that one, like, say, the Saints? Would you, if you got 16 and 19, you just traded back into the first round for a second pick using next year's draft capital? The Giants are sitting there at 5. If the rest of the league feels the same way that you do about Pickett and Carolina, do you go up into the 5th spot and give the Giants that Godfather offer and go get Kenny Pickett? Do you do that based on your viewing?
Well, and I think that's the next piece of this is how sold are you on these guys to be the next guy? You mentioned the Saints, who obviously have a couple draft picks there to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Jameis Winston and I say, no, I'm not. I'm going to build a team around Jameis Winston because I've seen Jameis at this level do a lot of good things. I know. He's got to get out of his own way, and he's got to get better at protecting the football. We all understand that. But what I've seen on tape with Jameis Winston, to me, is better than what I've seen from any of these guys. So I don't do that. I had Jameis, for that partial, what he did last year for, a few games, and I thought he was doing some really, really good things in that time period. That you have a good team and you got those picks. I stay where I'm at if I'm the Saints because I'm not necessarily convinced that the guy I go up and get is better than the guy I have in the building right now. And I think that becomes, you don't want to mortgage a whole bunch of stuff and give away draft picks that can get you some really, really good football players unless you're sold on that QB being better than what you have.
So then which other guy, Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show, who else whose tape you've looked at do you think has the potential, even if it is a second, third round kid, to be, say, Dak or Russell Wilson or anybody else, Derek Carr, from a second round spot? What do you think?
Good question.
Thank you.
And I'm not sold on any of the guys necessarily.
Okay.
Again, I think there's things that are intriguing. Desmond Ridder, I think he does some things, and you hear about his maturity and his leadership, which goes a long way. But I don't feel like he plays the position athletically enough. And I know that's kind of a relative term because it's not about how fast he runs or how quick he is. It's about being able to control the ball with his body. When you watch Aaron Rodgers and you watch Patrick Mahomes throw from these different platforms and can do things like that almost effortlessly, I think you need to play the position that way. Even for a guy like myself, I could make those kinds of throws, even though people wouldn't look at me and say I was an athletic guy. I played the position athletically, and so I worry about some of those different throws from Desmond Ridder. So I'm not fully convinced there. Matt Corral, there's some really good things. He's very compact in his delivery, which is stuff that I really, really like. But I'm not sure with the second level type throws if he's a difference maker there, like I think you need to be at the next level. Sam Howell is a guy that intrigues me. I think he's a gifted thrower. He pushes the ball down the field extremely well. He's tough. He's athletic enough, and so he's probably the guy of all of these guys that intrigues me. When I saw him at the Combine, he was smaller than I thought he would be. Kind of listed at 6'2", and I'm not even 6'2", so I thought, okay, no problems. And then I think measured in right around 6 foot, maybe a little bit above that. So a little bit smaller than I thought he was. So I don't know how all that plays in. We talk a lot about that, but he's probably the guy in that next tier that intrigues me a little bit. Has played a lot of football, has made a lot of plays, thrown for a bunch of yards at North Carolina. So he's probably the guy I think that jumps out to me that goes, I don't fully know what he is, but I think he's got some gifts there that could be unique if he's able to translate them to the next level.
Kurt Warner here, Pro Football Hall of Famer, my buddy, my compadre from the NFL Media Group and Westwood One Radio right here on the Rich Eisen Show. What a march, man. I mean, we haven't spoken. That was insane.
Insane.
I mean, from Brady coming out of retirement all the way to Bobby Wagner winding up with the Rams. I mean, that 2.5 week stretch was off the charts. I'm going to ask you a sports talk radio question. I'll give you 4 transactions, 2 wide receivers on the move, 2 quarterbacks on the move, and you tell me which one is going to make the biggest difference come the fall. Best you can tell right here. Davante Adams going to the Raiders, Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, and then Matt Ryan to Indianapolis. Which one of those do you think will have the biggest impact this fall, Kurt Warner? What do you think?
First, let me say I like all the moves. I think
yes.
All of those guys are going to help their teams in different ways. But when I break it all down,
yes.
I say to myself, Tyreek Hill, unbelievable. Still a lot of questions on if Tua can use him correctly. And that, to me, is going to be something that's going to be fascinating because they put the pieces together. So I'm going to X out Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Matt Ryan, I think, helps that team and makes them better with his leadership. But, again, I don't think he's necessarily the difference maker to get them over the top with where he's at in his career. So it falls to those other 2 moves right there. I'm going to lean towards Davante Adams. He's a special player. He's a guy that gives Derek Carr a unique beast, on the other side of guys like Darren Waller. And, I'm a big fan of Derek Carr. I think when he plays aggressively and attacks and has guys to do that, he's a different kind of quarterback. And so I'm excited to see that move. As much as I like Russell Wilson in Denver, I'm still not 100% sold on all the young pieces around him that I know everybody says, oh, they're ready to win a championship. I'm not fully sold that all those guys just become great players because Russell Wilson's there, even though Russell makes them better. Plus, understanding what is in that division, I'm going to go with Davante Adams being, the biggest of those 4 moves and will have the biggest impact in that division, this fall.
Just the other day, Kurt, I came up with my top 5 teams in the AFC, which got so much more competitive, so much deeper of a pool of a conference, right? And so in putting those 5 together, I had 3 AFC West teams in there, and I had the team that was the best ranked. I had the Raiders at the top, and because I liked the addition of Chandler Jones.
Yep.
Waller, Carr, and again, you can't discount the fact that Carr and Davante Adams have thrown to each other before, and they were roommates. So Carr, in getting his contract yesterday, said throwing to Adams is like riding a bike. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not going to be that much of a transition when they get there.
He makes the game easier for a quarterback because he wins so quickly and creates separation. So, Derek has been good. He gives the ability to make Derek even better. Josh Jacobs, if he gets healthy again and is back, I mean, I do. I like the pieces. This is a team that battled down the stretch with all the things they went through last year, battled down the stretch, got into the playoffs, had a chance to even beat Cincy on the road. So I just think that one addition and all the focus that has to go to a Davante Adams makes this team dramatically better. And like you said, I love Chandler Jones. Being here in Arizona, get to know him and just the leader he is. I think he's huge on the other side of Max. So I'm excited about where they're at, and I think they're, the team in the division that got, better than anybody else. And, you wonder about the Chiefs without Tyreek Hill. Where are they? Do they fall closer to the pack without the difference maker there? So I do look for the Raiders to make a move and be in the playoffs again, and we'll see how far they can go.
All right, one last one for you before I send you into your rest of your day. The one last, what would you do, Kurt Warner? If you've grinded the tape on these kids, you haven't really met them face-to-face interview style, right, for half an hour or for a full day like some of these teams have, but just seeing the tape and seeing what they might be able to do, would you rather draft one of these kids and have the 4 or maybe 5 years of contractual control with them, or go and acquire Baker Mayfield with that chip on his shoulder and 1 year deal left and maybe see if he's the guy? What would you rather do, Kurt?
I think it depends on your team, because I think we've seen enough of Baker to know what Baker's strengths are. And I do believe with the right team around him that Baker can make difference-making throws and can be a good quarterback in this league. I'm not sure he's a championship quarterback, and I'm not sure he's a quarterback that can carry you. So, again, depending on the dynamic of your team, I do believe there's probably some upside of Baker that most of these quarterbacks in the draft don't have. But we've got a book on him, and we kind of know what his limitations are, in my opinion. So if that doesn't fit what you're trying, or maybe just the bottom line is, I don't know if he's a championship quarterback. So if I'm asking that question, maybe, I'm probably telling you I'm going to try one of these other guys. I'm going to see if they've got the makeup to be a championship quarterback if I don't believe Baker is that guy, and I haven't seen that yet. Good quarterback can be a starter in this league, but I don't believe he's a championship quarterback at this stage in his career, and that's what I want if I'm going to get a guy. So I guess I'm probably telling you I would probably draft one of these guys if I felt like my team was in a place to compete for a championship or whatever. So it is related to the situation, I guess I have to say, but I would probably go draft a guy before I would extend something on Baker and have to pay him that starter's money that he's going to get.
Kurt, thanks for the time. I don't know if you saw some of these mock drafts out there have no quarterbacks taken in the first round. So if that happens 2 weeks from tonight, do you have tickets to the Blue Man Group instead, or something like that?
Man, come on, don't do that to me. I'm sitting grinding tape. I'm watching the top 50, but I only want to talk about these quarterbacks.
No, you don't. You want to talk about more than that, Kurt.
That to me right now. Let's just assume all 5 are going to go in the first round.
Okay.
So I've got some excitement going in. And it'll be a long night if that happens.
No, get a dinner reservation in your back pocket just in case. Like around 25th overall, we don't see any quarterbacks taken. You're just like, where's Kurt? Well, he's already at dinner.
I'm just going to sneak out.
Yeah. There's tickets. There's. Vegas isn't going to stop for the draft. Vegas stops for no event. So
nothing.
Okay.
All right, brother. I will be there, and I'm hoping we get at least a few.
Take care, Kurt. You're the best.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
There's Kurt Warner, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.